Hey everyone, welcome to week 3 of our How Not to End with a Bang series. I'm sorry, I can't say that without smiling. So if you're watching the video, enjoy. So we talked last week all about how we stay curious with a person. And the week before that, we talked about how we begin and continue with expectations throughout the relationship. We also mentioned, as we're talking about how not to end with a bang, that these relationships can be one on one, that these relationships can actually be with a group. And so we're going to jump right into this because I have a story today that I really want to share with you, because today is really about taking a pause, regardless if it's one on one, regardless if it's a group, taking a pause and just honor the person, honor the relationship that has happened, wish them well, wish the group well, and to really spend time and pause in this sacred moment. In groups, we spend an entire session just letting one person and releasing them. I think that's valuable. I've been in many groups that somebody leaves and it's the last 5 minutes of their time together. And that's it. And they continue the next week like nothing ever happened. But the truth is, rupture happens. And if we don't give time to really process that, we're reigniting the whole bad cycle that we have about not processing, and we stuff all that down and we don't acknowledge what emotions are going on in the room. One of my favorite communities that have done this so well, and it's one that I got to experience before I was able to really offer it to other people and experience it on an ongoing basis, was Confessional Community. Some of you all know that I love working with the Center for Being Known, through Kurt Thompson, through Neil, through just amazing different individuals that help out with that organization. I've gotten to meet amazing leaders, amazing people with just hearts of generosity, hearts of compassion, hearts of empathy, hearts of joy, really being with other people. The first time I ever got to sit part in a confessional community was actually during training that I took up in Virginia. And they sat us down, and we didn't get to choose our groups in advance, but it was just a group that was just randomly selected from all that I know anyway. And we sat down with everybody and we had this group of people. And each time we sat down, a different person in the group got to share their story. We practice this in tip community groups, is how to really share your story well. And you don't just share your story, you allow the listeners to really listen and process the story and ask curious questions and connect with their emotions, and allow the storyteller to really connect with their emotions and connect with their curiosity and literally invite the listeners into the story. We learn to share our stories more truly. The blinds are taken off. You realize that other people got to experience the same emotions that maybe you're trying to repress, and you realize there's validation, and you realize there's truth, and you begin to work through the healing process together. It's beautiful, and I love, love, love being able to offer this. But my first experience with this was a little shaky because, again, I was a member of a group before I was able to offer it to other people. I practice what I preach. You cannot offer what you yourself have not experienced. So I want you to picture, it's been a couple days. We have deeply connected with one another's story, and we know the ending is coming. The expectation has been set. Man, have we ever been connecting and reconnecting with each other. We are so remarkably close at this moment. Now, granted, some of these people didn't have a group like this at all that they were returning home to. I did. So I was leaving in a kind of a completely different place. I knew that I had connections. I knew that I had relationships. I knew that there were groups that I was a part of, groups that I was facilitating. I knew I wasn't going to be alone. I knew I had people that could connect with me at that deep level. However, This group was different in that it was in person, and it was different because we were doing a different type of work together. So, in the confessional community, they have what's called a goodbye liturgy or a farewell liturgy. And the first time this was done, I went away with the questions kind of like, are we really supposed to answer this? Like, I don't understand why we're taking so much time on saying goodbye. I mean, we kind of know each other a little bit, but I mean, it's only been a couple days. And so I really just during this time, I ended up not ignoring, keep it down, this is my first time doing it, not ignoring, but I just took a walk and I was kind of processing what was going on inside of myself and going, okay, obviously I don't know what's going on. I need to attune to what is happening in this group because I'm not doing this well. I'm not able to really connect with this whole goodbye liturgy thing. So I kind of opened myself up. The questions that they gave us to answer were, where have I seen you, talking about each member of the group, where have I seen you change during our time together? The next question is, what I wish for you, what I long to see God do in your life is. The next question, how you and your story have changed me. What I got to experience in your story and how it impacted my story. And last, sometimes I just want to say this to you. That's an optional question. But I really just want to say this to you. And that's what I find normally happens in these groups is when you go around and you see when this is happening, one person is answering, or I'm sorry, is answering those questions for each person in the group. And so as the one person goes and then they share back, or you can even do it, I've seen it done as we did in Confessional Community that day. The first person goes and they sit and they just receive as everybody answers that question over them. Sometimes that can be a little much depending on how long the group has been together. In fact, you can spend an entire session on just that one person. If the whole entire group is ending, like it's happened before, we spend an entire session on just one person. That means if there's 8 people in the group and you're ending well, you're spending 8 weeks focused on each individual member. How have we done that? And I do remember the first time I ever practiced this as a facilitator, I had pushback that, like, Bethany, I don't want to spend 7, 8 weeks saying goodbye. I don't know if I can handle that. So let's talk more about that. Let's bring that into the room. What's going on? What's going on inside of you? And it's hard. Can we just admit that? It is hard to sit in that. But when we take time and we really honor each person in the group, oh, you guys, it changes. It changes so much. And so when I got to experience this for the first time, granted, we did a very shortened, abbreviated version of this. I sat in my seat and I listened. And I'm getting choked up right now, even thinking about it. I listened as these new friends said words to me that I have longed to hear my entire life. And they only heard a little bit of my story. Imagine what can happen in our groups if we offer this in such a way that when we know more about a person's story, when we see them grow, when we see them blossom, that we can spend an entire session, an entire 1 hour or 90 minutes even session focused on them and what God is doing in and through their life, but also allowing us as participants to sit with our story and realize, oh my goodness, this person really did impact me. I've grown because you decided to stay in the group, because you decided to stay in the room, because we were able to sit in this hard place together. There has been beauty. There has been amazing beauty that is formed. And I can't leave. I can't move on from this space until I invite that into the room, until I sit and I hold it with you and through you. And together we get to just sit in amazement and sit in tears and sit in the reality that from this moment, things are going to be different. But also, man, how awesome God is for what he's been doing. Do you hear the difference that there is in these kind of honoring moments when we really do sit and take the time and curiosity, when we really do this well? Can you imagine the change that is going to happen? Instead of, yes, we will still be dreading saying goodbye. We won't just do it so quick and then spending years processing that moment. Instead, we can spend an hour together with that person, together with that group, and we can process and we can sit in the thick and we can sit in the heart together and we can leave. Yes, maybe with a little bit more processing to do, but we're not going to feel the weight of that for years and years and years to come. We're not going to bring that blow up into our other relationships. What a gift! What a gift! Ending well does, not only for our life, not only for that other person's lives, but for everybody that we come into relationships well. It is my hope, it is my dream, it is my passion that we can learn how to do this well. And that takes practice, that takes intentionality, that takes the willingness to sit in heavy emotions. We do that well in tip community groups. We do that well in the confessional communities that I get to help facilitate. We do that well in our Loot 10 groups. We do that well in so many groups that I'm a part of facilitating. And I actually look forward to these days now. They're so hard, but I look forward to them because so many times God moves in amazing ways. So I hope this was kind of a different insight. There wasn't a whole lot of teaching per se, but I wanted you to really experience a different way of doing this, because if you haven't, it's really hard to bring somebody into that until you can experience. So if you haven't experienced saying goodbye well, come be a part of some of these groups. Come really be a part of close community and close connections. I know there's some risk, but man, when you know that you can say goodbye well, it helps saying hi just a little bit easier. I hope you guys have a great week. I can't wait to see you back here next week. If you've got any thoughts or questions about what I shared today, feel free to email me anytime, Bethany@stepoutandthrive.com. Love you guys and see you guys back here next week. Bye.